Hello there, welcome back, and here we go for the last deck of the week here on the YouTube channel. Hopefully there'll be a stream replay tomorrow. I've had a good one before I've recorded this video, so we will see. But this is Preston Garvey Minuteman, 2 red, white and green for a 4/4 human soldier. And at the beginning of combat on your turn, create a green aura enchantment token named Settlement and attach it to a target land you control. That land then taps for any colour. And then whenever Preston Garvey Minuteman attacks, untap each enchanted permanent you control. Now, although on the video banner there was a thing that says random commander, I saw this when we were streaming the other night and I built this deck in the background and then we played it, and wow, did it do better than I expected. So I figured it's worth a video. So yes, it's kind of random because I saw the card, but it's not random as it has been the last few videos. Having things untapped because they're enchanted is an ability that I'm really interested in, and I think this deck really kind of scratches that itch for me. So here we go. Here's what today's deck looks like. As usual, when I go across my in-head limit for a paper top deck, I'm just going to point out the cost of this deck on here. It's just under $1,100 if you try and build this in real life. 74 tickets on MTGO. Again, a bit more expensive than I usually do, especially the tabletop, but if you know artwork at all from MTGO, you know what this artwork is and probably part of why this is so high. So anyway, here we go. Creatures, we've went with ramp to start with. So the Pilgrim and the Birds of Paradise are here. Bristling builds here just to help us out with some +1/+1 counters, and I'll come to why shortly. Generous Plunderer is obviously in, my dockside replacement for the time being. We've got Light Pools, the Emperor's Voice here to go and help us find the auras, because we like things having auras. Sylvan Caryatid is also in to give us that little bit of extra mana that's hexproof. Calyx, Guided by the Fate, is also in. We do have enchanted creatures going into combat here, so getting copies of non-legendary enchantments you control does help, and especially if we do it once only each turn. We pick the best one. Danithia, New Benalia's Light, is also in, so we can cast our auras from the graveyard. There's no equipment in here, and as you saw, Dogmeat's here as well. So you know, Dogmeat was a deck earlier in the week, and this is probably the other half of the pre-con deck, I think. But we'll put him in anyway, just have a bit of fun with Preston. Gwalaine, the Casting Director's in as well to go and get those royal tokens. Obviously, the royal one's the one we like the most. And this is where it starts getting interesting. Kuzit, Malmit Exemplar. Whenever one or more creatures you control, each with power greater than its base power, deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. You start to see where I'm going with this kind of. I like modified creatures in this deck. Tanglespan Lookouts here to give us those card draw when we cast the auras, or when they come into play anyway. 3 Dog, Galaxy News DJ had to be in. Another one of the Fallout cards that I've covered in a separate deck already, but he's here today to help out Preston. And then Chizuru, the Shattered Blade. We like this. Auras come into play. We get a 2/2 spirit token creature with menace, and then modified creatures at the end of turn get a +1/+1 counter on them, which works really nicely with one of the other creatures coming up in a second. Elvira of the Wild Court's in to chuck around those lovely virtuous tokens that we get to make our creatures even bigger. And the card that works so well when we play tested this on stream after I built it was Sovereign Onyx Aku. Yeah, if your base power is greater than that, if your power of your creatures is greater than their base power, you get to put a number of +1/+1 counters on that creature equal to the difference when the Sovereign attacks. And it does include the Sovereign himself. So if you get the Sovereign's power and toughness up a little bit, he starts putting counters on himself as well, which is just unbelievably good for me. Bonehoard Dracosaur, because we're playing red, and I do like the idea of having a little red dinosaur and a treasure if we get this going off. Terror of the Peaks to give us a way to do some damage if things get shut down, which they were in the game, so I'm glad I had this. I didn't win the game, but it did work out quite nicely. Conclave Siege Captain's in as well for the backup for the +1/+1/+1, and then getting all those extra counters really does help. Atali makes an appearance again to hopefully cast spells off top of our opponent's library without paying their cost. Liberated Livestock also comes in. When it dies, you get a cat that's got lifelink at the 1/1. You get a flying 1/1 bird, and you get a 2/4 white ox creature token. And then for each of those tokens, you may put an aura card from your hand and or graveyard on the battlefield, onto the battlefield attached to those tokens. It's kind of a cheesy way of getting stuff back from your graveyard, to be perfectly honest, but wow, is it fun. And we had two big creatures to finish off with. Golter and Marvin are in, because who doesn't like having a whole load of vampires that come into play that give you a load of 1/1s with lifelink, or a really big dinosaur that's tapped and attacking. See what's happening here. And then of course Vaultborn Tyrants in. We don't have that many cards that have power 4 or more, but when we do, getting the extra 3 life in a card draw really does help. Plus the fact when this dies, it comes back again as a token version of itself, so not the end of the world. Spells wise, a little bit of ramp with Farseek, Nature's Law, 3 visits. And then we have Heroic Intervention to protect everything. We have Genesis Wave because, yeah, okay, Genesis Wave is probably my favourite card ever printed, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, if I can fit it in, I will do. And it does fit in quite well in this one. Chroma's Will's here to give us a wonderful Alpha Strike. And then probably the card that's pushing the cost up so high is Replenish, to return all the enchantments from a graveyard to the battle to play, or to the battlefield as the case is now. So yeah, and then we have one little bit of control of Blasphemous Act, just so we can deal 13 if we need to. Artifacts, I've avoided the suspended ones, but we've still got the Elixir of Immortality, Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, one of each of the medallions, and then just for a change of pace, one of each of the talismans as well, even though they do cause us a point of damage, but they're worth having here at 2 drops. Enchantments is where it gets fun. We've got 24 in the deck, and they are very good ones. They all change because we like things that are modified. They do change power and toughness. So Ethereal Armor kicks it off. So +1/+1 and for each enchantment you control on first strike. So that makes a big creature. And then we have Rafine's Guidance, which we can cast from our graveyard by paying 2 and a white instead of just 1 white. So a little bit of recursion. Sixth Sense, which I'm having a time saying with my tongue tiedness, lets us draw a card. No power toughness increase, but the card draw can help. Wall Squeak's a fun one from Bloomborough. Enters target creature the opponent controls can't block this turn, but it does give the creature we've got in +1/+1 and haste. Lovely if you can play Preston, Garvey on turns, so like, well, when you've got 6 mana available, play this and then drop this on top of it and just go in and start getting things untapped. It does work nicely. All that glitters, we all know what this does. +1/+1 for each enchantment and artifact in play. Demonic Ruckus puts the +1/+1 and menace, and when it goes to the graveyard we get to draw a card, and we can plot it if we want to. So yeah, bit of difference. Divine Favour, +1/+3 and 3 life when it enters. Ordeal of Naya puts a load of +1/+1 counters on our creatures to help with the modifiedness, and then when we get up to 3 tokens we get to sack it off and go and get 2 basic lands. Rune of Might for the trample and the +1/+1. Armadillo Cloak for the +2/+2 trample and life, well, Persuado lifelink anyway, just gain the life equal to damage it's caused. Imperial Armour, if we've got a lot of cards in our hands, this is nice, because we get +1/+1 for each card we have. Etali's Favour does the whole let's discover 3 when it comes into play, and it gives the creature +1/+1 and trample. Gift of Paradise comes in. Don't forget, Gift of Paradise and all the ones that go on lands also untap when Preston Garvey attack, so gives you extra mana. So this gives you 2 and 3 life. Grafted Growth gives you a +1/+1 and 2 mana. Griffin Guide is here, +2/+2 and flying for a creature, and when it dies we get the Griffin creature token. Hydra's Growth just gets silly. Yeah, put it on a creature, gives it +1/+1 counter on it, and then we get to double the number of +1/+1 counters on the enchanted creature each upkeep. It will probably make the creature you have put this on a target for removal, so beware of that. New Horizons does the same thing, +1/+1 counter on a creature and doubles up our mana. And then we have Squirrel Nest. Yeah, put this on a land, make a squirrel, attack with Preston Garvey, make another squirrel. Same with Tarmogoyf Nest, but this time you have to pay the mana to do it. But it's a Lurgoyf at the end of the day, and yeah, base power and toughness is 0/1, so you know, it does work. Unflinching Courage is also in, which is the fixed version of the previous card that I was talking about, whose name of Armadillo Cloak. Because this one says +2/+2 trample and lifelink, so it's fixed version of Armadillo Cloak. Just as a note, this and Armadillo Cloak on a creature means it gets +4/+4 trample, and you gain double the life, because this isn't lifelink and this is. So you do get that extra life. Buried in the Garden is just to give us a bit of removal for something that's annoying us. Market Festival is tapped. His mana adds, his controller adds 2 mana in any combination of colours to his or her mana pool. Okay then, so 3 mana off this one. Nice. Pattern of Rebirth had to come in to go and get us something out of our library into play when the creature is enchanting dies. And then finally, to make sure we can keep hitting the modified triggers, Virtue of Loyalty comes in to chuck around the +1/+1 counters and untap all the creatures we control. Yeah, works really nicely when you have the City 2-ness in play, especially wherever it's gone. Boom, boom, chisel. There you go. Yeah. Stack the triggers in the right order. Put this on the stack. Put the enchantment one on this stack. Let the enchant one resolve this, and looks like it goes, oh yeah, you can all have another extra +1/+1. Does make your creatures kind of big really quickly. Lands wise, nothing in spectacular really here that's not red, green or white. They are all here. I didn't play Field of the Dead for a change in this one, but we have got things like Plateau in here. We have got Savannah in here, so you know that's where the value is in the deck a lot of the time as well. No Reliquary Tower, no Temple of the False God for a change. We are really relying on making sure we can get Elixir of Immortality going to get anything back we need. And that's it. I will most definitely be playing Preston Garvey Minuteman on stream as soon as I can. I think it's great. I am, like I say, a couple of videos this week, I am changing my opinion on some of the Universes Beyond cards, and that is purely due to some of the things that are coming through in Fallout, which I'm really enjoying. So for now, if you think there's anything I've missed out, let me know in the comments down below. Please hit the subscribe button, come and follow me on Twitch, and I will see you very soon in the next video when that starts next week. So for now, take care, thanks for watching this week, I'll catch you soon, bye.